Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. He's the statistician to the stars. He's a man of 1,000,001 nicknames, I guess we can say at this point. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about in the land of sports and pro wrestling. So let's not waste any more time. But before we get into it, though, we have to tell you where to go after the show because we get the conversation rolling, and then we always say we want to keep talking. Pat, where does everybody go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Swing on over to the website. Sign up on all the social media accounts. Everything's been working except one right now, but we're not going to get into that on air. You just have to find out which one that is.
Reasons.
Reasons is indeed. But we're hoping to get that one worked out very soon. But sign up because then when we do, we're going to come back in a blaze of glory. So that's how we do here. Also, check out the TeePublic store link. Always something happening there, especially with con season going on. And it was announced that we're going to have hats there.
Hey.
So if you want to get a nice baseball cap for the summertime or a trucker hat, as they're called, that is the place to go for it, because we're going to have those rolling out shortly, according to the fine folks at TeePublic. So shout out to them. We were just informed of this.
Hey, if you're not a sports fan, it works great if you're going to a sporting event with friends, because no one's going to question it. They see you with a baseball hat, boom, good to go.
Exactly. Also, check out the Patreon link, one tier, $2 a month. And hey, everybody got a bonus episode this month. So always amazing to say we have patrons. They're the best. They have a whole section on the website as well, so you can go follow everything that's going on with them. If they have links, if they're a podcast, if they're a content creator, it's that simple, folks. Also, while you're at the website, check out the blog section where there's always reviews dropping left and right. The classified section, which has friends of the show, such as 3FM Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative, and many, many more. The directory, Pat, how many providers are we on?
290,609.
Once again, folks, that is why he is statistician to the stars. Also at the website, check out the music section where a lot of our friends are doing some great things this summer. Brian Wolf and the Howlers have big things happening from Austin, Texas. Shout out the Robots. Tom Jolu, oh man, he's killing it right now. If you haven't caught him live, you need to make that happen ASAP. Floodlands, shout out the Robots. You definitely want to make sure you're downloading all their music, because kicking off for the summertime is going to be outdoor parties. You need a great soundtrack. Boom, we hook you up with that here at the ODPH. And if it's anything else, it's simply found at odphpodcast.com. And always remember on social media to use the hashtag ODPHpod. Kicking off this edition, we have to talk about a interesting weekend of pro wrestling.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, and on one side, we had AEW had a big pay-per-view going on. There's a lot of coverage on Nerd Initiative about that. But we have to deep dive into a very, very interesting tournament finale over at Saudi Arabia that was WWE King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring this year.
Yeah.
A lot of events happening, which the stakes were raised even higher going into this event.
Yep.
So, Pat, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so of course this was the, as you mentioned it, the King and Queen of the Ring Premium Live Event, or pay-per-view, whichever one you want to use, which took place from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia in the Jeddah Superdome at the wonderful time of, I know pre-show was at 11 in the morning, and then the show started at 1 in the afternoon, which for us here in the stateside is just, it's just beautiful.
I love this.
I do too. I don't get me wrong, there's something classic and fun about, in a weekend evening, Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, pay-per-view, but I can get behind, a 1 p.m. start time. Love it.
I will take that well over AEW getting done at 12:30 in the morning.
I was going to ask you that because I know they had double-digit, 12 cards on that match. I was going to ask you when that got over. 12:30. Yikes.
The short version, which the card was very solid.
Get well soon, Edge.
Yeah,
or Adam Copeland.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that if you've been catching the stuff on Nerd Initiative, we've been breaking down. There was a lot of very Reason-esque moments on that card, but it finally wrapped up at 12:30 in the morning. So if you're talking pre-show included. It started at 6:30. It ended at 12:30. That's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
Now, Granted, as a fan, I love seeing it, but not when I have other obligations leading into this.
It's easy to stomach when it's on Memorial Day weekend, which for those of you overseas don't quite understand, it's a day here in the United States where we honor fallen soldiers who have passed away and given the ultimate sacrifice in wars. And the next day is, for most people, a day off. So it's easy to stomach when you don't have the next day. That doesn't make it any easier.
No, it doesn't, especially if you're working prior to this event
Yeah,
and then coming right into this event. It makes for a very, very long evening, and that's all I will say about that. So I applaud the WWE for going earlier. I hope in the future maybe AEW takes maybe a slight page out of that playbook and gets done a little earlier for all of us here on the East Coast, because as fun as the show was, it was a very, very long evening. But with that card being said, Pat, let's talk about it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk the King and Queen of the Ring results. And the first match that took place was on the pre-show. This was a tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill retaining their belts against Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, winning in 8 minutes and 5 seconds.
Solid match.
Yeah.
Great way to start the show.
It's not to fill time. 2 hours is a lot of time for any pre-show.
Yes.
On anything.
Way too long.
You know, I don't care what sport it is. So you need something in there to break up the conversation, break up the speculation, break up the predictions. And this was a good little in-between, break.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I say, perfect way to start the show. Yeah. And definitely it gets everybody on the card. So, more win.
And then the first match on the actual card, the main card, was a singles match for the Women's World Championship where Becky Lynch was defending her belt against Liv Morgan. And you had Liv Morgan defeat Becky Lynch via pinfall in 16 minutes, 25 seconds to become your new WWE Women's World Champion. And as she has alluded to on Monday Night Raw, the Liv Revenge Tour is not over. Oh, no. It's just getting started.
Yeah, this was a wild ending. I love the finish with it, with Dominic Mysterio becoming involved with it, trying to get some revenge for Mommy.
He was out there to protect Mommy's interests.
Yes. And unfortunately, it backfired with Liv Morgan taking full advantage of this on her Revenge Eras tour.
And I love what they're doing with the Dom portion of this, because genuinely, do we really know what his motives are, even taking into account Monday Night Raw? Do we really know what his motivations are at this point? Because kudos to Dom. He is blending the line between, is he trying to help Mommy and he's just the world's biggest screw-up? Or is he out there helping Liv? Because you know what? His allegiances have changed a little bit. It's hard to say. I can see both arguments.
I could definitely see both. I mean, Dominic Mysterio has vastly improved.
Yes.
Over the years.
Yes.
And he has become a must-watch performer. I will admit, I eat my words. I did not think I would ever say that. I am glad I am wrong, because he is doing the little things right, and that's adding so much to his character.
Tell you this, we'll get to this in a minute, but that man, couple weeks, couple months, he's about to get the world's biggest ass kicking from a certain Mommy.
Oh, yeah.
Next up on the card, though, was a triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship with Sami Zayn defending his belt against Chad Gable and Bronson Reed, and emerging victorious, winning via pinfall in 13 minutes and 40 seconds was Sami Zayn.
Yeah, a solid match.
It was a good match.
I mean,
Bronson still felt like the forgotten third wheel in this aspect.
Yeah, that's
because the match starts, Bronson comes out and they're talking Bronson. Oh, he earned his shot in this, that, and the other, and then what is it? Chad Gable comes out with Otis, and Maxine Dupree is there with him. Akira Tozawa noticeably absent, but Chad Gable, sends Maxine Dupree to the back. Otis is there. Sammy comes out to the raucous applause and the incredible entrance from Sammy.
Yeah.
And then it kind of turned into the Sami Zayn and Chad Gable show. Well, Bronson got his moments in, and there was certainly, there was the double German suplex that was done during the match, which was awesome. But again, I'm not saying this as I'm a big Bronson Reed guy. I just kind of feel bad for the guy that this was a marquee matchup and this was a big moment. And he feels I feel like in 6 months, everyone's going to forget he was in this match.
Well, the one thing about this is it adds a different dynamic into the match, because the storyline right now is Chad Gable and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
But if this gets Bronson Reed on the card, I'm okay with this.
I am too.
Because a lot of times, if they don't have quote unquote anything for somebody,
sure,
putting them in a match like this, you might think is a throwaway moment, but at least it might cause an idea to kick in somebody's head. To go, oh, you know what? I could use X-wrestler on here to do Y
Yeah.
storyline.
Yeah.
So if they start going in that manner, it works. Like I say, the more that you can get anybody on the card that travels over, because like let's face it, this is a very, very long travel
Yeah, it is.
destination.
Yeah, it is.
The more you can get everybody on the card is great, and that's why I think in Bronson's case, I do agree with you. It doesn't really move anything with the storyline
Yeah,
unless he turns out to help Sami Zayn
Maybe.
for reasons.
Maybe.
But like I say, having him on the card, it definitely gives him a little more spotlight. And then especially as we're going into Money in the Bank season, he could be somebody that is in that talk to be in that match.
I can see that argument. The other thing, too, with this match is, of course, Otis attacking, air quotes, Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Is he on Chad Gable's side or is he not? Time will tell. Next up was the final match of the Queen of the Ring tournament between Nia Jax from Friday Night SmackDown taking on Lyra Valkyria from Monday Night Raw and emerging victorious, winning via pinfall, one hell of a pinfall, in 9 minutes and 40 seconds was Nia Jax. So with this being said, Nia Jax has earned a title match for the women's championship on her show at SummerSlam. First thing about this match, Lyra Valkyria, best entrance of the weekend.
Yes.
That entrance was incredible. Kudos to everyone who came up with that. 2, that fucking finisher and that ending. Oh my God. Like, that wasn't the best finishing move of all time, but I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's over. God damn.
You know, the thing about this is Nia Jax has come back and she has vastly improved.
She has earned this.
She has earned every moment of this.
Yes.
And I was not mad about seeing her win.
No.
You know, Valkyria has got a bright future with the company.
Very early into her main roster tenure.
And the fact that she was in this spot speaks volumes of where she's going and what WWE thinks of her.
Yeah.
But to see Nia get the big win, and I know that she had the emotional moment at the end,
Sure.
getting the crown, and I love how she spun it back into being a heel.
Of course.
But at that moment, though, that was validation for everybody who wrote her off. And for somebody who has clearly shown she's put the work in since she has been gone.
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with this.
No.
I'm glad to see this. This is only going to lead to big things. As in theory, she'll be facing Bayley at SummerSlam if everything holds up.
Yep.
But there's still a lot of time between then and now.
It's a lot of time and a lot of pay-per-views.
Right. So as it stands right now, they have time to really build that into a really huge feud and keep elevating Nia, who, like I say, if she comes back and she looks like she's been looking in this match, she has a very, very big future, and I think she's going to be winning more fans over.
Yeah, no, Nia's won me over because I was very critical of her prior to her leaving the company, you know, and I'd hear her music come out and be like, uh-oh, here we go. This ain't going to be good. You know, moves would get messed up, lines that get botched. Of course, there's the infamous my blank from that episode of Monday Night Raw. But now when I see her come out, I'm like, oh shit, like business is about to pick up. Well, you know, she's earned this. She's vastly improved, and I'm eating my words on. I didn't think she'd ever really, you know, live up to the expectations they had with her, but damn it, she's doing it.
Well, you know, and I think in this case, and it speaks for everybody on the roster, it's literally sink or swim.
Yeah.
And the talent the WWE has between the two shows, Raw and SmackDown, plus NXT, speaks volumes. And you have to bring your A game. And if you are used to not doing it, not saying Nia didn't,
right?
But I think that if you are not bringing 120% every night, you're failing. And it will get shown, and there is somebody there that can take your spot in a heartbeat if you don't bring it. And I think Nia understands this after she was let go. She put the work in. She came back, looks great. And now we go from there.
Next up was the men's final for the King of the Ring tournament with Gunther from Monday Night Raw taking on Randy Orton from Friday Night SmackDown and emerging victorious, winning via pinfall in 21 minutes and 50 seconds. Gunther, so of course Gunther now earns a title opportunity for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam.
Yeah, this one, though, a little bit of controversy.
A little bit of controversy.
Randy Orton's shoulders were not fully down when the referee counted to 3.
Triple H acknowledged this after the show, said, listen, I was out there to hand out the crown. In the moment, I didn't see it, but after I left and I went out back, I looked at the footage and I saw what everybody else said. Everybody else saw. But, unfortunately, you know, referee's decision is final.
Yeah, but he alluded to something too, though. He alluded that they were going to run it back.
I could see it.
And I think they do. I don't think they do it until after the Brawl in Berlin, I believe is the name of the card.
Bash in Berlin.
Thank you. I think that Gunther is going to get his title shot there. That I think that that'll be the deal to give Randy Orton a new shot at the title.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the pay-per-views because you can't figure they'll wait too long to do this. The next one up for the main roster is Clash at the Castle, which is going to be in Glasgow, Scotland here in June. Then you've got Money in the Bank, which is in July. That is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And then it's SummerSlam. And, well, we know Gunther's booked for that card. So if I had to guess, probably Clash at the Castle. Doesn't take real long to set it up. Easy to do whatever finish you want to do. Doesn't really have to mean that much. It's just a marquee matchup.
Oh, with Gunther and Randy,
yeah,
they'll do that there because it's already been announced that Damian Priest is going to fight Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. At the Castle.
Yeah, Clash at the Castle. Yeah, it's Drew versus Damian there. Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. It'll be a good match regardless. The match was phenomenal.
Yeah, the match was very solid, but you knew it was going to be with these two involved.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Randy is very excited to work with Gunther.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I think that they'll run it back at some point sooner than later. I wouldn't doubt this being the co-main event when we get to Clash at the Castle.
Could be.
Like I say, anything's possible there.
Early preview, though, for SummerSlam and Gunther, he ain't winning that title.
I never say never.
I think if they want to have him do something marquee and big, it'll be a Bash at Berlin.
Well, I would say that would be the case, and plus, I'm also holding out that we have Dragunov, Gunther, last man standing at SummerSlam.
Oh God!
I'm airing this out. I want this to happen at SummerSlam and
match of the year.
Oh my God!
Match of the year. Book it early.
I need this ran back, but I need it in a marquee spotlight.
Then in your main event of the evening, it was a singles matchup for the undisputed WWE Championship with Cody Rhodes defending his belt against Logan Paul. And emerging victorious, winning via pinfall in 24 minutes and 20 seconds was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Not really shocked here.
No.
But let's give the devil his due. Logan Paul stepped right up to plate, swung for the fences, and hit it out. And
they told a great story with this match because I figured, I'm like, there's no way Logan's going to win this match. Cody's way too early into his title reign. You know, he spent 2 years, the better part of 2 years earning his way into getting that opportunity, then getting knocked down and then coming back and all that whole thing. They're not going to drop the belt off him this quickly. But they did a very good job at stringing me along and giving those little glimpses. You know what? We might do it. There's always a chance. Any given Sunday, as the saying goes. So both sides and the folks involved with this match told a very good story.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing that Logan Paul knows the spotlight. He knows he's the center of attention. He always goes for a viral moment, which he pulled off here to the camera angle of him on the top rope jumping through the table.
Pulling out the brass knucks again.
Yeah, which, I mean...
Michael Cole berating him. Corey Graves having to step in and save Michael Cole.
Yeah. I mean, this is all the little stuff he does, but he understands the temp in the room, and that's what makes him stand out, and that's why he's going to be world champion before we know it. I'm not going to say he's going to win Money in the Bank, but I would not be surprised.
That would not surprise me, no.
I think that would be the most logical stuff for him to happen next.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And then we really see how everything plays out there, but I think in this case, though, he really showed that he can hang with a top main eventer.
Oh, absolutely.
And we've known this before.
He had the match with Roman.
Yeah. That if you're not sold on him, I'm sorry, you really need to start buying stock into him.
Because he's good in the ring and at least with his character. I'm not talking personal aspects, but when it comes to like just telling the story and selling you on the match out in the ring and outside the ring, he's real good with the content.
He understands the business, and he's shown a lot of growth from where we first saw him. So, take that as a win, and if it builds on everything else, more power to him.
Absolutely.
So then, briefly into Monday Night Raw, though, there was a moment that has got the internet talking.
Well, one, I got to mention the fucking Alpha Academy stuff. Did that make you uncomfortable? Because it made me slightly uncomfortable.
The thing,
which I think is what they're going for.
Oh, they are, because they really want to make sure that Chad Gable is over as a heel. That there's no question about where he's going, and I think that this is a step in the right direction for his character.
Yeah.
That I'm going to kind of use a weird analogy, but hear me out.
Okay.
I think what they're trying to do is get him as much heat as Tommaso Ciampa had when he was at NXT. That he pushes that line.
Yeah.
That things can go, very south very quickly.
Yeah.
And I think in this manner for Chad Gable, who, let's be honest, has not had the greatest of characters to work with.
Shorty G.
That he's now been challenged to really step his game up being a heel.
Yeah.
He's gone into a very, very unique spot.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've seen many sports movies involved with this too.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he's playing off that. And I think that in this moment too, the point is to really make everything uncomfortable, that when he finally wins against Sammy, which is going to happen, he's going to get a tremendous amount of heat on him.
Probably at Money in the Bank.
Arguably.
It'd be because it's in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's not Montreal, but it's close.
Well, I think sooner than later they have to do it.
Yeah.
Because of what everything's been building up with their storyline. Like I say, I do agree that was a little uncomfortable with the belt.
Well, the belt, and then he kicking Maxine out of the ring, and Sammy coming out and like consoling Maxine, but she kind of shrunk away.
Yeah.
You know, and then like I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, holy cow.
Well, yeah, that's where I think he's really stepped the character game up, and even
he needed to, though, because like you said, he had the thing with Jason Jordan where they're like, oh yeah, they're the Olympians, they're this, which worked fine for the time. But then once he came to the main roster and outside the Shorty G thing, it was the thank you, kind of like the comedic bit.
Well, he did the comedic bit and it worked.
Oh yeah.
But the gift and the curse, so to speak, is the moment that he got involved with Gunther.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed everybody who did not realize he's an Olympic wrestler that he should be in that conversation at the time to beat Gunther for the IC title. He needed that moment, but I think that's when people started paying attention to him instead of just saying, oh, he's a comedic guy.
Right.
And I think that if you really want to say that you are a true five-tool player, if you will, you need to show that you can be a heel.
He's definitely kind of like that next iteration of Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth or whatever his name is these days. Mm-hmm. And in the fact that, you know, can be in the main event scene. Not consistently, not for like super long stretches, but like when you need him, he can do it. But he's also a dependable guy in the same vein as like a Kevin Owens, where like you can plug him, you can play him, you need a guy for a story for 3 months. He can do it. You know, you need him to be a face, he can do it. You need him to be a heel, he can do it. You need him to sell, he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been great like that, but I really think he needed a character that people could either love or hate.
Agreed.
This is working because, it's also, too, he has a great dance partner in Sammy.
Yes.
Sammy is one of the characters that it's tough for him to be a heel.
Because I'll be honest, you know, the whole Alpha Academy, when Maxine came in and recruiting Tozawa and, you know, with Otis and the whole thing, I paid attention, but I didn't really care. I was like, okay, it's there. You know, I don't hate it. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Now, with everything going on and what side is Otis on and what's going on with Gable and what's going to happen with Sammy involved, I'm riveted.
Well, that's the thing. You're invested, and that's the job, and that's what he's done well.
Yeah.
That's why I say he'll get rewarded with that title.
Absolutely.
And then I'm just curious about the fate of Alpha Academy, or are we finally going to have him team up with the Creed brothers?
Ooh.
I still think that is going to happen. I still have a feeling that is.
Could be.
But like we say, that wasn't the big moment for Monday Night Raw.
No, you had the main event was Becky Lynch she had a mandatory rematch clause in her contract, and she invoked it for Monday Night Raw. So that was in a steel cage match. And of course, shenanigans would ensue with that match. What was it? What was it? The Judgment Day came out at one point with like Dirty Dom came out and shenanigans ensued. Braun came out because J.D. McDonough and Finn Balor were out there as well talking to Dom like, what the heck are you doing out here? You know, Braun annihilated parts of the Judgment Day but emerging victorious and winning in her first title defense, Liv Morgan.
Well, there was
a lot going on.
There's a lot going on, and that's where I think is a testament to the Triple H era.
Mm-hmm.
Everything on the show matters for something. There's no such thing as filler time.
Right. Braun coming out at the start. You had Damian confronting Drew because it got announced Saturday, like we said, and it's them face to face. Like, okay, Damian, this is your next opponent. And Braun coming out, and they're very deliberately standing in the ring with Damian Priest and looking at Damian Priest and kind of just standing there, and then you see him tilt his head down and he tilts his eyes down and he looks at the title, basically saying, yeah, I'm coming for that.
Mm-hmm. But doing that little stuff builds up, and especially with the J.D. McDonough stuff with Braun, that came back later when he came out. And that was this whole thing going the entire night. It was building in there where Braun hit Dom that inadvertently caused the cage door to slam in on Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Liv gets to escape. She wins the belt.
Yep.
There's some post-match flair, if you will.
Well, we didn't see it here in the States because the USA Network had the hard out at 11 o'clock. So it was right before, but it made its way to social media afterwards. But Dom and Liv shared a rather long kiss.
Well, that was more Liv than anything.
Well,
But the Revenge Era tour continues on. And it really made for an interesting storyline, too, because as it's been reported widely,
Yep.
Becky Lynch is officially done with her contract as of
Saturday.
As of right now, Saturday.
Supposed to her contract runs out Saturday.
Right. We don't know statuses of what's going to happen. We can all speculate.
Sure.
I can already tell you what I think.
I'll go ahead.
I think she's taking time off.
Okay.
Well deserved.
Okay.
And she will re-sign with WWE.
I think so too. I agree with you 100% because it was reported, and take this for what it's worth, that she was going to take a vacation after WrestleMania. But then what happened in the events played out with Rhea Ripley. She had to vacate the belt. All of a sudden, crap, we need something to fill up this, because their plans got destroyed at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
So they needed somebody to step in. And much in the same way John Moxley did with AEW, Becky Lynch said, hey, I'll step up. I got this.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I mean, you think of just how long she's been going since she came back at SummerSlam, not last year, like 2 years ago when it was in Vegas. She's been going with that, live shows, press tours, book tours, pay-per-views, just nonstop. And I think you could tell, especially at the end, it was starting to wear on her that she and I think anybody who's had a job and has just gone consistently day after day after day, week after week, month after month, you just hit a point where you're like, bleep, I'm exhausted. I need a what vacation. Hi, I've been there. I can attest to this. I know you can too.
Oh yeah.
So and I can, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but like you look at her entrance on Monday, and she looked exhausted. She looked tired, and that could be jet lag from, flying back west from Saudi Arabia back to the States, But I agree with you. I think she's taking time off. I think however long it is, I could see her not coming back till re-signing until the Royal Rumble, which I know is a while, but hey, you've got a great women's roster on both shows with phenomenal talent at all levels. You don't really need her, but I agree with you. I think she's going to resign, but I don't think it's going to be a full-time deal. I think it's going to be a part-time deal, and it might not be that much different from what Roman got, where she comes in for stretches. She may not wrestle, but she's there for a story, and she shows up when they need her to.
Well, I think one thing that we have to keep in mind is the business savvy of Nick Khan and Triple H is a lot different than the former regime.
This is true.
And I think what they are going to do is they're letting the contract run out.
Sure.
Unless something happens in the 11th hour and she resigns.
Sure.
But I think what she's ultimately leaning is she wants some time off.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to take it. Will she get an offer from AEW?
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If she's got an agent of some sort, they'll get a call.
Well, and you know what? She should, because that's the easiest way to test the market and see what the value is, of her services. And I think for AEW, it would be smart to make an offer of some sort.
She's 37 years old. She just turned 37 back in January. So arguably, whatever contract she signs next will be the last major one she signs.
Yeah. And I think for her, she should take the offer from AEW and then counter with WWE's and see which one she wants to stay with. I personally think, though, she'll stay with WWE.
She'll stay with WWE. Seth reportedly re-signed. She's already got the great deal. She had the great deal with the tour bus and the kid, and they could all travel on the road together. So it's a really great setup. It's a really great setup for them.
Yeah. So like I say, I could see her, though, if she wanted to go there for whatever reason, she'd be fine in AEW. I just don't think she will, though, because I think for where her star has been made, she's synonymous with WWE.
She's featured consistently and featured on TV, even when it's not with the belt, weekly. It's in that same Kevin Owens vibe. Kevin Owens isn't always going for the belt, but he's always on TV when he's not out injured or something. Becky Lynch, same thing.
Well, the thing with Becky, too, is she's done everything.
Yes, she has.
So what's the incentive for her? Like I say,
Sure.
She doesn't need to be champion. She's been a great champion.
Sure.
And I think that when she comes back, I think she'll have a great storyline wherever she winds
Absolutely.
up. I mean, like I say, there is a chance she could go to AEW.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, but
Yeah.
I don't think she is. I think what she's going to do is she's going to get a very, very lucrative contract
Oh, yeah.
from wherever she signs, arguably WWE.
Oh, yeah.
And I think she comes back at Royal Rumble. I do think that she'll be gone that long.
I could see it. Yeah.
And I think the WWE will be just fine.
Yeah.
Their roster is very, very deep.
You know what you could set up, because especially if she doesn't come back to the Rumble, have her come back at the Rumble, win the Rumble, and then set up for her versus Charlotte at Mania.
They could always do that.
Because anytime they've ever faced each other at Mania, there's always been somebody else involved.
Mm-hmm.
The one year it was the 3 of the 4 horsewomen with Charlotte, Sasha, the Mercedes, and Becky, and then the other year it was Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda. They've never had a one-on-one match at WrestleMania.
This is true. I
So
mean,
you could set it up for Mania in Vegas next year.
I could also see her getting run back with Rhea.
Oh,
Because-
yeah, that's on the docket too. Yeah.
Because of how she was sick and worked through the WrestleMania match. If
Yeah.
she's 100% healthy,
Yeah.
who knows how that goes?
Yeah.
Like I say, she has a lot of options on the table, and she's definitely earned them.
Yeah.
So whatever she wants to do, it's not the end of the world if she doesn't re-sign for a while. She has that prerogative.
She's earned it.
Yeah. So for everybody that's like losing their mind right now on the internet,
Calm down.
Yeah.
Let her live her life.
exactly.
Let her go be a mom without having to worry about commitments and flight times and anything else. Let her just worry about what do I got to do today?
Yeah. Trust me.
She's earned it.
She'll be back on TV when she's ready, and we'll all be better off for it. When let's say when she wants to come back, she'll be energized, she'll be ready to rock and roll, and
And in the meantime, like we said, both rosters, Raw and SmackDown, even NXT,
yeah, all three.
phenomenal women's divisions. Like, is it a loss? Yes, but is it a loss where the stature and the highlights or whatever you want to call it of Raw get knocked down because she's not? No, you've still got Io Sky, you've still got Kairi Sane in Damage Control, you've still got Liv Morgan and everything else going on there. You got Sonya Deville going on with Zoe Stark and the stuff going on with her, and then Shayna Baszler, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. What's going on with them? Alba Fire and Isla Dawn reappeared out of nowhere last night. There's still such a great women's roster on Raw, on SmackDown. Everything will be fine. Tiffy time's still on Fridays.
Exactly. All will be well. In fact,
Yeah.
if she wants to do the Cody Rhodes tour just to do the indies for a month, give me her versus Jordan Grace.
Ooh. Yeah.
I would say that, and I will also say I'll just put the karma out there. Maybe GCW and her Masha Slamovich. I'm just going to throw this out there, but
But to the people freaking out, sky's fallen. To quote Aaron Rodgers from his time in Green Bay, RELAX.
Indeed, Pat. Just sit back and enjoy the show. Trust me, all the shows right now are doing very well, so it's just a great time to be a fan. That being said, hit us up on that hashtag ODPH Pod. What is your thoughts about the King and Queen of the Ring for the WWE? Where is the Liv Morgan storyline going? Let's talk about that, shall we? And then Chad Gable, thoughts about that? And for even more wrestling content, make sure to check out Nerd Initiative Wrestling Night Live every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. That all said, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Can you dream of a world immune to cancer? Hello, everyone. My name is Nick, and I'm the host of the annual live stream for The Cure, where content creators and podcasters from around the world join me to raise money for the Cancer Research Institute and immunotherapy research, which is training the body's immune system to fight against all forms of cancer. Over the past 7 years, thanks to the power of indie podcasters and the indie podcasting community and listeners just like you listening to this right now, we have raised over $90,000. And as I record this now, the 8th annual live stream for The Cure is barreling down upon us really, really quickly in just about 2 weeks. So join us, please, from May 29th through June 1st for 48 hours of amazing content from people all over the world and help us fight for a world immune to cancer. I'll now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Thank you so much. And together, we can make a difference.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and it's fight night this weekend.
Hell yeah.
UFC 302 is going down with 2 big main events, plus a very solid mid-card. So let's talk about it, shall we, Pat?
Yeah, so taking place this Saturday from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, USA, UFC 302. I got to mention real quick on the prelim card, friend of the show, Nico Price, is taking on Alex Morano.
Let's
in
go.
a welterweight division matchup. Good luck, Nico.
Shout out to Nico.
Yeah, but we're going right into the main card. The first match we're going to talk about is in the welterweight division, where it is Randy Brown taking on Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos.
So this looks like it's going to be a pretty solid fight. Brown is definitely known to scrap a little bit. Dos Santos, is going to come bring it as well, too. This is one that could go literally either way. If I have to make the call, I'm going to say I'm taking Randy Brown.
So looking at the two gentlemen's records here, you've got Randy Brown, who in 23 professional matches has a record of 18 wins, 5 losses, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, beating the likes of Muslim Silikov via knockout. That was in February of this year. And then he beat Wellington Turman via unanimous decision. That was back in June of last year. His last loss was to Jack Della Maddalena by rear naked choke submission. That was in February of last year. On the flip side, you've got Elizeu, who pull up his record here, 32 professional matches, has a record of 24 wins, 7 losses, currently on a, 1-fight neutral result. It was a draw. It was against Rinat Fedorakov. It was a majority draw. That was back in November. Prior to that, though, he was on a 2-fight winning streak, beating, good God, there's a fucking another one of these guys. Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov. Good God, there's another one. He beat him by a split decision. That was in June of last year. And then he beat Benoit Saint Denis via unanimous decision back in October of 2021. Last loss was to Muslim Salikov via split decision in July of 2020. So something's got to give here. I'm going to say it's going to be Randy Brown. How? I don't know. We'll find out.
No, like I say, I think Randy, I would like him by a split decision here.
Okay.
I think Dos Santos is going to be good. Yeah, no, there is a lot of...
Nurmagomedovs?
Yes, thank you.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Did not realize there was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Then in the heavyweight division, you've got a matchup between Jalton Almeida taking on Alexander Romanov.
Well, the one thing about the heavyweight division, this is
The
one...
fights don't last long.
They don't last that long, but... It's also wide open territory right now. And we have to remember that. I mean, Almeida's ranked 7th.
Yep.
Romanov is ranked 13th. So this is one that Romanov is trying to make his way up in the crowd. Almeida, I mean, is very hit and miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see him pulling something off here, but I could also see it going the other way too. Like I say, let's talk about the records.
Yeah, so for Almeida, in 23 professional matches, has a record of 20 wins, 3 losses, currently on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost to Curtis Blades via knockout at UFC 299. That was obviously back in March. Prior to that, he was on a good goddamn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fight win streak. I'm not going to go through everything, but some of the notable names here. He beat Derek Lewis via unanimous decision in 2023. Beat Jairo Rosenstruck with a rear naked choke submission in 2023. Just to name a few. Like I said, there's fucking 15 people. So that's the last loss before Curtis Blades was to a gentleman by the name of Bruno Aces for a Brazilian federation called Chuto Brazil 80 in January of 2018. So, dude doesn't like to lose all that often.
No, it definitely doesn't.
Then on the flip side, for Romanov, 19 professional matches, has a record of 17 wins, 2 losses, currently on a 1-fight winning streak, beating Blagoy Ivanov via unanimous decision. That was back in July of last year. Prior to that was on a 2-fight losing streak, lost to Alexander Volkov via TKO in March of last year. Then he lost to Marcin Tybura via majority decision in August of 2022. Prior to that was on an undefeated streak. He won 16 fights in a row before he got his first loss to Tybura, beating a whole lot of folks. So you know what? I'm gonna say Romanov.
I like Romanov in this one too. I think Almeida is very solid, but I think Romanov is going to catch him. I think this is going to be stopped via strikes or knockout in the 3rd round.
Probably. middleweight. It's entirely possible. Then you get to the next fight, which is also
No, actually, the last one's heavyweight.
Heavyweight, sorry. Yes, yeah, that is true. That'll be a knockout. Next one is a middleweight matchup between Kevin Holland taking on Mikhail Olechechuk. Apologies if I butchered that name.
Kevin Holland, what can you say about him? He fights anybody, anywhere, anytime, and he will not shut up during this fight.
Allegedly, he's coming here to kick my ass for some reason.
This is true. He didn't like something.
I might have said something.
He didn't like something Pat said.
Yeah.
But this is going to be one that I think he needs a win more than not.
Yeah, I'm looking at his record. He does.
But the one thing about him, and the nickname I believe is Big Mouth.
Probably.
Because obviously he does not stop talking during his fights, is he will show up and he'll scrap literally with anybody. And that's something that the UFC has always loved. They like people that are not afraid to go and really make some noise and really get themselves on a map. So in this situation, I think he needs this. And in fact, I'm even going to go on the limb. I think he does win this. But it's not going to be pretty. I think if Mikhail takes him to the ground, Holland will struggle.
So officially, Kevin Holland's nickname is Trailblazer. But I think unofficially, Big Mouth makes a lot more sense.
I think Dana White always just calls him Big Mouth.
Probably.
So that's why. So apologies in advance.
But looking at the record for Kevin Holland, 37 professional matches, has a record of 25 wins, 11 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Michael Page in his last fight via unanimous decision. That was back in March. Prior to that, lost to Jack Della Maddalena via split decision. That was in September of last year. Then, before that, he was on a 2-fight winning streak, beating Michael Chiesa with a Barbaro choke submission back in July of last year. And then he beat Santiago Ponzinibbio with a knockout in April of last year. And then before that, 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by corner stoppage. That was in 2022. Then he lost to Hamzat Chimaev with again, Barbaro choke submission.
Yeah.
That was back in September of 2022. And before that, two win streaks. I mean, you noticing something here? 2 wins, 2 losses. 2 wins, 2 losses. Then you got Michael Olechechuk, who in 27 professional matches, 19 wins, 7 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost to Michael Pereira via rear naked choke submission in March of this year. Beat Chidi Nokujani via TKO in August of last year. And before that, lost to Caio Borralho with a rear naked choke submission back in April of last year. So something's got to give. 2 guys on a losing streak. I'm going to say Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, win streak, 2 losses, then, not a loser. 2 wins, 2 losses. 2 wins, 2 losses. He's about due for a win.
He's due for a win. I mean, he's very well-rounded. It's just the fact that the skill set's just not there, in my opinion, to get him to that next level. But he is trying, and that's why I say I think he's due for a win here. So I'm going to say make it happen. We'll lock that one in.
Next up is the co-main event of the evening. In the middleweight division, you have Sean Strickland taking on Paulo Costa.
Wow, this is a fight that is very intriguing to me. Paulo Costa at one point was supposed to be the heir apparent to this division and be, completely defiant, and nobody was going to go near him. He ran into Israel Adesanya and has never recovered, in my opinion.
Well, Strickland beat him in their last fight.
Right.
Looking at it. He beat Adesanya for the UFC middleweight championship at UFC 293 in 2023. Immediately lost it in his first title defense against Dricus du Plessis in January of this year.
Right, but we're talking Costa, though.
Oh, Costa.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah, so the situation with Costa is...
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
13-0, ran into Israel Adesanya, and yikes.
Yeah, he's never looked right since.
Well, I mean, he unanimous decision win against Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Well, that's what I say with Luke at this stage.
Got to fight at a night bonus.
Yeah. I mean, at that stage, it was like Luke has had a lot of tread on the tires, so to speak. So he wasn't really in that fight shape, too.
True.
And Costa, like I say, he looks like he should be fighting the heavyweight division. He cuts a lot of weight to get down. I know that, he is very disciplined about his diet, but at the same time, I have not seen that killer instinct that you need for a fighter to really take him to that next level. Adesanya embarrassed him, and this is almost like the Patriots and Falcons in the Super Bowl. He's never recovered.
I mean, and you just look at Paulo Costa's fight record, which 17 matches, 14 wins, 3 losses. But coming into the UFC, he was undefeated. He was 8-0, and they put him up against Gareth McClellan at UFC Fight Night in March of 2017. And prior to this point, he had not had a fight leave the first round. Everything else, the latest he had a fight go was it ended after the first round. This was at a fight in 2014 where it was a doctor stoppage. So it only went the first round and they called. That's the latest he had a fight go. But then you look at, so he comes in the UFC, beats Gareth McClellan, knocks him out 1 minute, 17 seconds of the first round. Okay. So then they put him up against Uluwale Bamgbose, Bambose. Knocks him out at 1 minute, 6 seconds of the second round. So they're like, all right, fuck, we got to start giving this guy some higher talent. Johnny Hendricks goes into Johnny Hendricks fight 10-0, knocks out Johnny Hendricks 1 minute, 23 seconds of the second round. All right, fuck, we really got to give this guy some talent. Uriah Hall knocks him out in the second round. Goes in, all right, shit, got to keep moving him up the ladder here. Yoel Romero actually takes him the distance. Hey, kudos to you, sir. Beats him by unanimous decision, but then, like you said, ran into Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya knocked his ass out in the 3 minutes and 59 seconds of the second round. Came back, all right, maybe, ran into a stronger opponent. Marvin Vettori, unanimous decision loss there. Bounced back against Luke Rockhold, but in his last fight against Robert Whittaker, unanimous decision loss. So
yeah.
I don't know what it is about this. Maybe it's just got knocked a certain way and he hasn't recovered.
Costa was ready to leave. I mean, at one point he was ready to get out of there. I like I say, I don't want to even give any speculation, any other outside nonsense.
Sure.
I know that there's always something involving his drink, his protein shake or whatever, and I don't buy into that whole nonsense. So that's why I said I don't even want to elaborate on it. But I know there's always something about he carries around like a certain kind of juice.
Okay.
So I don't know. Like
Michael
I say,
special stuff kind of thing.
It's a weird thing. I don't understand it.
Gotcha.
I don't know. But like I say, going against Strickland, who, listen, Strickland is Strickland.
Yep.
We always talk about keeping it real and keeping it 100. Mm-hmm. That is what Strickland does. You might not agree with everything that comes out of his mouth.
Yeah.
But he is not afraid to speak his mind, and he will go in there and fight anybody and back it up.
34 professional matches, has a record of 28 wins, 6 losses, lost his last fight to Dricus Du Plessis via split decision. That was in January of this year. Beat Israel Adesanya via unanimous decision. That was in September of last year. He beat Spuyin, Aebu, Sup, Iyyan, Magomedov via TKO. That was in July of 2023. Beat Nasruddin Imavov via unanimous decision in January of 2023. So not counting Dricus Du Plessis, his last loss was to Jared Cannonier. That was in December of 2022.
So in this situation, I think, unfortunately for Strickland, due to his voice about certain things, he's going to need to put together an Aljamain Sterling type run to get back to his rematch.
Probably.
I mean, Strickland is Strickland, and I'm not meaning anything negative about it. Just he is literally what you see, and he is not afraid to voice his opinion about anything. He's not afraid to get a little crazy in a crowd.
True.
We saw this versus Du Plessis in the crowd. He's the one who jumped 2 rows back to start a fight with him.
Oh, that's right. Shit, I forgot about that.
We have to keep this into context.
Dana loses a year off his life anytime he sees somebody do that.
Oh, yeah. And if you've heard Strickland do an interview, whatever, like I say, he's very outspoken in his own beliefs about life. For him to get back to a title shot,
he's got to go on a mythical run.
That's what I say. Like, he needs to go on a Sterling type run or an Oliveira type run.
I know the name, and I'm like, all right, yeah, he's a decent fighter. But I'm not sitting here going, holy shit, this is going to be a great fight. He's going to really knock his teeth out. Like, this is going to be one for the record books. Yeah. Like it's there. I'm like, okay, yeah, it should be a good fight. But I'm not, like, circling my calendar.
Oh, I'm circling for this one because I think that both of these fighters need a definitive win.
Sure.
Not just a win.
Sure.
Like, if this goes the distance and it's a split decision, I think that hurts both more than it helps.
Yeah.
No matter who gets the W here. But if I have to make a call about this, I'm taking Strickland.
Okay.
I think what's going to happen is Strickland is going to outbox him.
Okay.
And I think that if he can keep the strikes and keep this on his feet,
sure,
he's in a good spot.
Sure.
Costa will want to grapple and get this down to the ground, or at least get this into a dominant position and maybe do the lay and pray.
Okay.
That's his only chance I think he has to win here. But
Okay.
Strickland has to know this. Strickland has decent wrestling, in my opinion. And I think that for him to win, he can outbox him and he can weather a storm. He weathered Israel Adesanya. Now, granted, you could say Adesanya was tired at that time.
True.
Because I want to say, if memory serves me right, and of course, hashtag ODPH pod, I want to say he was on like his 4th fight in a calendar year.
I can look it up.
So that being said, Strickland, which, I mean, it's no disrespect to Strickland, he went in there and did his job. Adesanya wants to take fights on short notice and whatever, then that's on him. But Strickland showed up and fought out. But to lose by the decision to Duplessis, that's also, a very, very interesting play. And that's why I say, like, I don't think it averages out in that, manner that we're just writing him off. Like, I thought that they should have ran it back between them, but I think obviously due to him being him, he's unfortunately not going to get that, and that sucks. But that's where I think he needs to put together like a great 3-fight win streak, but he has to win in dominant fashion.
I think it's going to be a split decision win, and it's going to ultimately come down to Strickland. And it's not going to help him. It's not going to hurt him. It's just going to be one of those things. Because I think what's ultimately going to happen is somebody's going to get an edge in this fight, and they're just going to coast. They're not going to go for the knockout win or the submission win or whatever. That really seal of approval, seal of like, hey, I deserve a higher ranked opponent for my next fight. That they're just going to get a little shy, a little hesitant, and not ready to go to that next step.
Yeah. Well, like I say, if Strickland gets the mic after the fight, though, look out.
Yeah.
Look out. Just that's all I'm going to say.
Then in the main event for the UFC Lightweight Championship, you have Islam Makhachev defending his belt against Dustin Poirier.
Well, this is interesting.
For
a few different factors. Dustin Poirier, a fan favorite to say the least. He is someone that has a lot of tread on the tires. He is somebody that is not afraid to get into a dirty scrap with anybody. He is very well rounded in all forms of mixed martial arts.
Yes.
On the flip side, Islam Makhachev is basically the heir apparent to Khabib's legacy.
Good Lord, yeah, he is.
He fights in a very similar style. He's not afraid to get in there and go fight off his back. He's not afraid to just out-grind people on the wrestling. The fact that this fight is going down, I mean, is a great fight. This is worthy of the main event status.
Absolutely.
I think for Poirier, in my opinion, I think this might be his last shot at a title.
Yeah, and he's got a mountain to climb to get there.
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev ain't gonna lay over and just roll over because Poirier might get a lucky shot in there.
No, I think what is going to happen here is the same thing that happened in the Khabib Poirier fight. I think Makhachev's wrestling is just too strong. That Sambo style is just going to be too much.
Dude's a 3-time gold medalist in terms of wrestling.
Yeah. And
one at the World Championships and 2 Russian Championships.
Yeah, he's no joke about this. Poirier needs to know this is coming for him. And if he doesn't, which, I mean, he'll be prepared, but it's like I say, he's already gone through this style with Khabib. He knows what to expect. Has he made adjustments to counter it?
No wonder I'm looking at Khabib's training camp, and no wonder he's the fucking heir apparent to Khabib. He was trained by his father.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, like I say, he's the one that was...
So he started wrestling bears.
Yeah, I mean, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like I say, for what Khabib did.
Oh, and Khabib is listed as his trainer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Oh, yeah, so that's why I say, like, Khabib got out and has been working with Makhachev. And
he's in the Eagles MMA group. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so...
There's a lot of Nurmagomedovs in this camp. Holy fuck.
Oh, yeah, that's why I say, like, there's
Khabib, there's Usman, there's Umar, there's Abu Baker. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot that are fighting in this camp, and they're in different organizations.
Remind me to not piss them off.
Yeah. Well, that's what I say. Like, for Makhachev, he is pound for pound the guy right now. And to take a look at his track record, I mean...
well, let's start with the challenger. The champ is the lot more fun one. But for the challenger, Dustin Poirier, 39 professional matches, has a record of 30 wins, 8 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 1-fight winning streak. He beat Benoit Saint-Denis via knockout in his last fight. That was in March. Lost his last fight to Justin Gaethje via knockout. That was a head kick back in July of last year. Beat Michael Chandler before that with a rear naked choke submission back in 2022. Lost to Charles Oliveira via rear naked choke submission in 2021. Prior to that, was on a 3-fight winning streak, beating Conor McGregor twice, once via doctor stoppage, once via punches, and also beat Dan Hooker in June of 2020. Then you get to the champ. Islam Makhachev, who in 26 professional matches has a record of 25 wins and only 1 loss. Started his career 12-0. Came into the UFC. The first fight was against Leo Kuntz. That was got his 12th win in a row, rear naked choke submission. First loss and only loss of his career was against a gentleman by the name of Adriano Martins. Lost via knockout at UFC 192 in 2015. Then he came back against that. Decision win against Chris Wade. Decision win against Nick Lentz. Knocked out Gleason Tebow. Submitted Kajan Johnson. Unanimous decision win against Arman Sarukin. Unanimous decision win against Davi Ramos. Some arm triangle choke submission against Drew Dober. Rear naked choke submission win against Thiago Moises. Kimura submission against Dan Hooker. Knocked out Bobby Green. Arm triangle choke win against Charles Oliveira. Unanimous decision win against Alexander Volkanovski, and then he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski again in the same calendar year in his last fight. So the dude has literally lost once and then went on a freaking 13-fight win streak to now be 25-1.
Mm-hmm.
Good God.
Yeah, that's what I say. For Poirier, he needs his A-plus game to win this.
He needs a perfect game.
He does. And that's why I think he, unfortunately, is going to be dealing with a lot of that Sambo-style wrestling. And I hope I'm wrong about this prediction. I really am, because I genuinely do like Poirier as a fighter.
Oh, I do too.
I think this is Makhachev via submission in the second round.
I'm going to say third. I think it'll be close at the end of the second, but unfortunately, time will run out and he won't get it synced in.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one problem, because in that lightweight division, you're running out of names that can step up and face him. And that's something that the UFC, I think, is very, very worried about.
Yeah.
Because you think about Justin Gaethje, he would have been a great contender, but obviously.
I mean, I'm looking at I'll bounce back and forth between Makhachev and then the rankings. Makhachev, number 1. Sarukin, obviously, I mentioned he beat him. Number 2 rank is Charles Oliveira. Yep, he beat him. 3 is Justin Gaethje, which, taking a quick look, there's a fight you haven't had, so I'll put count one finger on that one.
Right, but he just lost the BMF title.
True. Dustin Poirier, taking place this weekend. Matsuts Gamrot, that is a fight that hasn't happened. So, yeah, I mean, just going through the top 5, you got 2 names that he hasn't fought yet. So, but the way it's looking, it ain't going to be long, and he's going to run through them.
Well, that's the whole situation here. I think you're in an era that Makhachev is just on an elite level, and you're going to need somebody to emerge.
Mighty Mouse level.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need somebody to emerge to come up there. And I don't know necessarily if somebody's there right now that can be that guy. That's something it's a testament to the skill set that Makhachev is bringing.
Right.
I think Gaethje would have been a great fight. However, he just lost to Max Holloway.
Right.
Max is very content about going back to featherweight last I knew.
Yeah.
Where he's king of the featherweights.
Yeah, he's currently the number 2 ranked fighter in that division.
Yeah. So after that, it gets really...
Brian Ortega's down at featherweight. Yair Rodriguez is down there. Josh Emmett. Aljamain Sterling. Giga Chikadze's down there. Calvin Kattar. Just to name a few. I mean, even if you want to go up to welterweight and talk about going down, you got Usman's up there, Bilal Muhammad, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Colby Covington, Jack Della Maddalena, Gilbert Burns, Ian Machado Gary, Sean Brady, Stephen Thompson, Jeff Neal. I mean, you got some names, but might take some talking.
You got some names, but that's a hell of a weight cut.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the one problem. Like, I think the only one that I could see doing that, because it's him, is Chimaev.
Yeah,
because Chimaev will go to any weight class to fight anybody. He's crazy like that. But I think that this is a situation that they're going to need to get some marquee names to go fight him.
Right.
And I think unless Poirier opens up the floodgates here and gets the win, he is capable of doing it if he can keep it on the feet.
Sure.
But if I know Makhachev and what he's going to follow what Khabib did. Khabib did not stand there with him long.
Nope.
He took him down, got his back, took him to the second round, won by rear naked choke.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see the same thing happen here unless Poirier has learned how to defend that style. And he's had enough time to work. So
you would think.
Well, that's the whole thing, that we don't know until he gets in the cage.
Yes.
And I think in his case, though, he'll want to keep this standing. I mean, I think that's his only real chance to keep to have a real shot at winning this.
Yeah, he's got to keep it on. He's got to keep it standing.
Yeah, and I think, in all honesty, he has a chance to outstrike him.
Oh, sure.
I
sure.
fully think that.
But then again, you might leave it in the hands of the judges, and we know how that goes sometimes.
Well, for being a 5-round fight, I don't think it's not going to go that long.
No, God, no.
Because
you never know.
Because here's the thing: if Poirier wins round 1, and let's say he just outpoints him, he somehow stops that takedown.
Sure.
He's not going to be able to do it forever.
No.
And the thing about the style that Makhachev wrestles in, it's a grinding style.
Mm-hmm.
It's meant to take a lot of energy out of you trying to get free. And that will start wearing into those later rounds.
Sure.
So for Poirier, he needs to end this early, and he needs to end this with a strike. If he can do it, he has a great chance to win this. If he can somehow sneak out those first 3 rounds and get a judge's decision out of this, even better, but he needs to go for a finish. I think Makhachev understands this. I think he has watched that fight with him and Khabib, and he knows exactly where he needs to go and what to do. And I think that this is going to be where Poirier needs to figure it out. But I think, unfortunately, for this match, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Makhachev in the second via submission. You could say
I'm going to say Makhachev in the first.
Well, see, I don't think it's going to be first. I think Poirier will fight back enough because he's going to try figuring out his timing. And I think that that's something, too, with Makhachev. He's going to take his time, too, in that first round.
Could be.
That first round is going to be very boring.
Could be.
Because they're going to wait for somebody to do something. But this is a situation that the UFC has got a very, very great main event on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I mean, the lightweight division is either going to have a wide open field, or the names are going to get smaller on the list of who can really withstand Makhachev and do some damage. That all said, hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. What is your thoughts about UFC 302 happening this weekend in Las Vegas? Let's talk about that card, shall we? But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about, first of which is obviously the local minute and looking at the standings for the Eastern League AA minor league baseball. That is, of course, the Division R local Binghamton Rumble Ponies playing. Another week, still in first place for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Let's go.
Got a half-game lead on Portland, who is the Boston affiliate. So Binghamton's 24-20. Portland's in second place, 24-21. Hartford, who is the Colorado affiliate, in third place, a record of 22-22. Somerset, the Yankees affiliate, a record of 22-23. And you got New Hampshire, who is the Toronto affiliate, in second to last at 20-25. And then you got Reading, who are the Phillies affiliate, sitting in last place with a record of 20-25. And looking at the schedule from the games they had this past week, including this week, because there was the one game that took place, of course, on Monday. But last week they had the series against Reading, the Fightin' Phils. They won their game on Tuesday by the final score of 6-5. Lost on Wednesday by the final score of 12-7. Won on Thursday by the final score of 13-6. Won on Friday by the final score of 2-1. Lost on Saturday 12-6. Lost on Sunday 3-2. And then they start this week. And then this week they're at home playing Harrisburg. And they had a game on Monday, of course, because it's Memorial Day. Won that game by the final score of 7-3. For the remainder of the series against Harrisburg, they pick back up on Wednesday, May 29th. That is at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, because that is Baseball and Education Day. That is where local school kids pack up for the day, and instead of sitting there learning about math and science and stuff, they watch a good old-fashioned baseball game. Fun little activity, so definitely check that out if you are available. Thursday, May 30th, they're playing at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. Friday, they're playing at 7:05 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be a special one because it's Marvel's Defenders of the Diamond Night.
Ooh.
So that is Rumble Ponies Assemble. The Binghamton Rumble Ponies look to defend their diamond against the Harrisburg Senators on Defenders of the Diamond Night, presented by Marvel. And it, of course, features the sick logo Marvel did for the Rumble Ponies. I've got a hat of that logo. It's amazing. It's also going to be fireworks nights. Definitely give that a check out. So they'll be wearing special jerseys, the hats, the whole 9 yards. Then Saturday, June 1st, it is at 6:07 p.m. Eastern, because why? It's 6:07 Saturday. This says, quote, join us on Saturdays as we recognize the great communities of the 607. Each Saturday, we will pay tribute to a different community thanks to our friends at the Agency and Leadership Alliance. There's also a ticket offer. Those of you locally should keep in mind. It says, quote, do you teach a pre-K class? Are you looking for the perfect way to send your class off at the end of the school year? Join the Rumble Ponies and Valley Dental Pediatrics for a special pre-K graduation parade around the warning track, including each student being awarded a diploma. For more information or to have your class included, there's an email on the website you can definitely check out. It's hannah@bingrp.com. Definitely something to check out and something to maybe consider if you got a young one graduating pre-K this year, which congratulations to them. Then Sunday, June 2nd, 5:05 p.m. Eastern. That is a Kids Eat Free Sunday. So, of course, every Sunday, kids eat free at the ballpark, thanks to McDonald's. All children 12 and under will receive a voucher for a hot dog a hot dog and a small soda. It's also Sock Out Cancer Day. This one reads, quote, sock out cancer with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies and Security Mutual Life Insurance. Come out to the ballpark as we honor all cancer survivors and join those in their courageous fight against their disease. All cancer survivors are encouraged to join us for a special Sock Out Cancer Day parade around the warning track before the game. It's also Senior Stroll Sunday, so of course all fans 60 and older can take advantage of a discounted ticket price at the starting gate box office. And then the first 30 minutes that the gates are open, all fans can take a stroll around the warning track. It's also Kids Club Sundays. This one reads, quote, every Sunday at Marabito Stadium is a Dick's Sporting Goods House of Sport Kids Club Sunday. It's never too late, to sign up for your little Rumble Ponies fan to the coolest club in town. So it says for $15, you get a ticket to every Sunday home game, lanyard with ID badge, t-shirt, member exclusive event, 3 exclusive kids club events at Dick's House of Sport, a one-time 15% off your purchase in the Armory Team Store presented by Lord's Guthrie Team Store, and a one-time UHS Jumper Fun Zone wristband. So definitely check out. And then also ticket offer for you teachers or school personnel. Quote, as another memorable school year comes to an end, the Rumble Ponies and Visions Federal Credit Union thank all teachers and school personnel for their hard work all year round. All teachers and school personnel can present their school badge at the Visions Federal Credit Union starting gate box office for a complimentary reserved grandstand ticket. So definitely something to check out if you're a local school teacher or school personnel.
Absolutely.
But the important thing, and the thing you should definitely check out for that Thursday game I should mention, we got a rehab assignment for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
Oh.
And that is the Mets catcher Francisco Alvarez is going to be beginning a rehab assignment with Binghamton for the game at 6:35 p.m. Eastern. The article on the Rumble Ponies website says, quote, Alvarez has played parts of the last 3 seasons with the Mets after making his major league debut at the end of 2022. In 2023, playing in 123 games, he hit 25 home runs with 63 runs batted in. In his major league career, the 22-year-old Alvarez has 27 home runs and 72 runs batted in over 144 games. In 2022, Alvarez began the season with the Rumble Ponies, hitting 18 homers and 47 runs batted in over 67 games. So definitely something to check out if you're a Mets fan, because, hey, one of your starters from the major leagues will be down here. For more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com.
Mets fans need something right now.
Yeah, they do. They're real bad.
Yeah, to put it mildly.
Speaking of real bad and real unfortunate, I got to mention some baseball news. And unfortunately, the reigning NL MVP, Ronald Acuna Jr., is done for the year.
Yeah, this is...
Tore his ACL on his left knee Sunday, done for the year, and already hurt because the Braves lost their ace, Spencer Strider, for the entire year. So kind of a weird situation. He was running between second and third base during the first inning against the Pirates, and it just buckled. Like, it wasn't anything like a crossover in basketball. You're like, oh, yeah, hey, that's where that happened. Just looks like he kind of got caught up and was like, oh, do I need to go back? Do I need to... Tumbled, went down. He was placed on the injured list on Monday, but he definitely had a rough couple of years. You know, tore his ACL a couple of years ago. bunch of injuries. But we're wishing him speedy recoveries and getting well very soon.
Absolutely, man. That's just like I said, the injuries that he's had, especially those ACLs.
Yeah.
Like it's just tough for a guy that's as talented as he is.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yeah. And then from some sad news to some happy news, because baseball fans around the world, Yankees fans, Astros fans finally united on something in joy. And that is Major League Baseball umpire and frequent target of poor calls. Mm-hmm. Angel Hernandez has retired.
Yes.
Fucking finally. Oh my God. Reading from an article on ESPN.com from Jeff Passan, quote, MLB umpire Angel Hernandez is retiring effective immediately, ending a controversial 3-decade-long career that in recent years turned Hernandez into a source of consternation with players and a punching bag among fans on social media. The 62-year-old Hernandez, who in a statement confirmed earlier reports he would be retiring, reached a settlement to leave Major League Baseball, according to a source, and will leave after umpiring thousands of games since his debut in 1991. Hernandez, who worked his last game May 9th and was replaced on Lance Barksdale's crew by Jacob Metz, sued MLB in 2017, alleging the league had engaged in racial discrimination. The lawsuit was thrown out by a district court judge, a decision upheld by an appeals court last year. With a penchant for bad calls, during a 2018 playoff game, he had 3 calls reversed by replay in the first 4 innings. Mm-hmm. Hernandez received a disproportionate amount of odium from fans. The lawsuit only added to the animus Hernandez generated, and the groundswell grew to the point that Hernandez retired after missing much of the 2023 season with a back injury. Close quote. This dude was just, you'd see him umpiring a game, and you'd see he's behind home plate, and we're like, oh, fuck him. Yeah, this is going to be bad. There's a site, I think it's, if you search like MLB or umpire scorecards on X, Twitter, whatever, you can find the Twitter account, but they go through every game and they kind of like, okay, this is the percentage of called balls they got right. This is the percentage of, called strikes they got right or whatever. And they do it for every game. Umpire scorecards is the account. But they go through and they'll tell you, the overall accuracy, the relative accuracy, plus or minus, the overall favor, plus or minus plus for whatever team, and the overall consistency. But the other thing they do is the called ball accuracy and the called strike accuracy. I remember there was one for Angel Hernandez last season. I can't remember who it was against, but I remember it was him, where the called strike accuracy was 67%.
Ooh.
He got a lot of calls wrong.
Yeah.
So the fact he is gone, hey, good luck in retirement. Wish you nothing but the best, but don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of MLB fans are
very happy
with this news. So good luck on the future endeavors.
Yep.
Let's get into hockey first, and then
Sure.
we're going to talk some basketball. Obviously, if you're listening to the ODPH, first and foremost, thank you for checking us out. Drop a review on your favorite podcatcher. We only talk Rangers hockey here because, let's face it,
Fuck everybody else.
There's no other team that matters, and man, oh man, this series right now is giving me heart issues.
To say the least.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference Finals are definitely heating up between them and the Florida Panthers. Game 1 was ugly. There's no way I'm going to lie about it. 3-0 Panthers. Rangers were just flat. Too much time on their hands. I don't know, to get back in the swing of things. Game 2, much better with Barclay Goodrow coming through, who has absolutely been lights out in the playoffs.
Everyone forgot he was on the team.
Well, everybody thought he was on the team, and then in Game 3, after the Rangers were up 4-2 going into the third period, gave it away in a matter of minutes. We're lucky to get bailed out by a guy I completely forgot was on the team. That's Alex Winberg.
Yep.
I legit forgot he was on the team because he has been very, very quiet. So they are currently up right now 2-1 in their series with Florida.
Yep.
Game 4 is going to be taking place tonight as we're recording.
Yep.
This is not an easy series, folks. This has been very hard-hitting. The Rangers finally got going due to the legend that is Matt Rempe. And I hope that he's on the ice tonight. I know there's a little controversy going on with the Rangers, too, involving Jacob Trouba and a very questionable hit.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Listen, I'm not going to lie about it. It was questionable.
Yeah.
And if they had suspended him, I would not
No, I'd
argue
understand it.
I completely would understand it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to defend his actions about that because it was a shot. It was an elbow to the head. It was questionable in the heat of the moment, so to speak. He was fined, but he was not suspended. I know Florida is very angry about that. I fully think that they'll be hitting the boards a little hard tonight.
Oh, yeah.
For the Rangers, though, they're going to really need some high production coming out of their star players. Panarin and Mika have been playing very, very, I don't want to say the word is lax, but they just need to kind of tone it in a little bit and really focus on their shooting. I know the Panarin has been a little wild with the puck.
Yeah.
And Mika is just listen, I will never say anything bad about Crosscheck Jesus. But he needs
Step it up, dude.
He needs to get going. And that's what I say, he's been more lax than not. Chris Kreider definitely got everybody into this series. I would like to see him have a breakout performance. Lafreniere has been playing well, but this is a situation that if the Rangers are going to advance to the finals, they're going to need more production out of their star players. And Shesterkin has played out of his damn mind.
Yeah, he has.
He needs help from the defense.
I'll say, let's not have a repeat of Henrique a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's what
let's not do that.
Well, here's the thing. In that year when Henrique went to the Cup, they didn't have an offense.
No, they didn't.
All their guys were not on that same level of the team that they have right now. Like, they have shooters on this team.
Right.
The shooters need to shoot and get in the puck. Blavatsky has played well for Florida. I will give him that. He has been playing very, very stellar, but they've had opportunities. Like, that's the big thing. Even in the 3-0 game, they had opportunities. They just haven't capitalized on it.
Yeah.
They need to come out early and set a physical presence. That's why I say I hope Rempe's in that starting line tonight, because they need to get out there. They need to start checking, and I guarantee you, when Trouba gets out there, somebody's going to take a shot at him.
If memory serves, I think the Rangers clinched their spot in the conference finals before the Panthers.
Yes.
And I had a buddy reach out to me who he knows the hockey teams, but he's not super familiar with all this stuff. And he goes, "Oh, you're a Rangers fan, aren't you?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Between Boston and Florida, who would you rather face in the conference finals?" And I said, "Boston." I go, "Boston will punch you in the mouth, and it'll be a hard physical game, but Florida is a lot tougher because they're ticky-tacky, they're comeback, they're not going to lie down, they're going to make you work for it and make you strive for it." And just I like the matchup against Boston better. And I feel like I'm getting proven right where it ain't easy against Florida. It wouldn't be easy against Boston, but at least Boston, I'm like, all right, they've got a good shot. Florida, you never know.
No, Florida is definitely a team that they have a reputation to scrap, and this is something that I think the Rangers are going to need to step up that intensity to match them. And they can definitely do it. It's not out of the realm of thoughts.
Yep.
But this is where I think Florida is going to feel the pressure tonight.
It's in New York, isn't it?
No, they're back. They're still in Florida.
Oh, still in Florida.
They're still in Florida. But,
that's right, too, yeah.
But they really are going to want to set a physical presence.
Yeah.
And this is where the forechecks are going to come into play. This is where the power plays need to click in for the Rangers. They've looked great on the defensive side of things.
Yes.
But they're going to need to really crank on that offensive side, which has been very lax in this playoffs. I'm going to say that a lot in describing this team's offensive efforts. But thank God for Shesterkin, because he has kept them in every game, and it's going to be a true test of wills. If the Rangers can punch this in and get 3-1 going back home, listen, things are going to look very, very good. If it's split 2-2, Game 5 becomes Game 7. No question about that. And I would much rather the Rangers be up than trying to come from behind and win 2. That's how tough this series is going to be. So, obviously, Blue Shirt Nation, stand the puck up. Let's go. And in Rempe, we trust, because if he scores a goal, if you imagine if it's Game 5, Rangers are up 3-1, and he scores the game-winning goal to put them in the finals, the streets will riot like it was Jalen Brunson hitting the 3 for the Knicks.
If I'm the Knicks, I'm there for the games in the Garden.
Oh, they'll be there tonight. Or I'm sorry, they'll be there for Game 5.
Yeah,
they will show up. Brunson will be there. Probably Hart will be there. A lot of rumors about their free agency is already clicking into place, because I believe it can start in about 10 days.
Okay.
So if not, there's a lot of ESPN articles popping up and sports articles about when free agency opens, because they're all saying the finals are going to be wrapped up by then. To wait and see, because one team has punched their ticket to the finals, the others have not as of yet, but anything could happen, because Pat, let's talk some NBA basketball, shall we?
Absolutely. Looking at, we know one half of the NBA finals, and that is the Boston Celtics, who unsurprisingly swept the shit out of the Indiana Pacers, 4-0.
Yeah, this is no question. I mean, Indiana.
I thought there was always a chance Indiana could pull one off at home, because hey, home cooking, loud, how loud that building can get. But then again, it's Boston.
They had their best chance Game 1, but they did a foolish error. They allowed Boston to hit a late 3 to tie it up and send it into overtime. And for being a young team, which they are, that was foolish because the veteran experience of Boston took over.
Yep.
And Brown and Tatum know what's at stake here, and they're playing like it, which is very, very scary.
Yep.
And once Halliburton went down for the Pacers, it's a wrap. I'm sorry. There was nothing going to happen there.
Yep.
Even as they were up by 18, I want to say, in the
yeah.
last game, it wasn't going to matter because
Yeah.
Boston was ready to take this home.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, though, Game 4 is tonight as we record
8:30 p.m.
in a series that has been a little shocking.
Uh-huh.
I would say more so than we had thought it was originally going to be.
Dallas is up 3-0. Took game 1, 108-105. Took game 2, 109-108. And then took game 3 in Dallas, 116-107. Luka Doncic taking this series over. 32.7 points per game, 7.7 rebounds a game, and 8.7 assists a game. And he's got another photo for the wall with him staring and looking over it. I don't even know who it was, Anthony Edwards or something. He's got another photo.
Yeah.
He got another meme, I guess you could say.
Well, the thing about this series is after Anthony Edwards led the Minnesota Timberwolves over the Denver Nuggets, we all thought, and rightfully so, that Minnesota had arrived. They knocked out the defending champs. They were on a roll. They've been looking great. Then they ran into Dallas. And I don't know what got into Kyrie Irving, but he is playing like the Kyrie Irving of old.
Yeah.
And this pairing of him and Luka is working. And this is something that I didn't expect to work as well in the playoffs this late. But Kyrie is definitely making a push to get back to the finals, and to see him focused on his game and really looking like the all-star that he is, I really think this is going to push Dallas over to the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say the meme, Luka is back on his...
Because I'm going to look at you side-eyed and smile at you.
Yeah, I believe he was also swearing at somebody in a different language.
Slovenian, I think is what it was.
Yes,
yeah.
Against Rudy Gobert. Because the one thing about this team is Minnesota has challenged them on every front they can.
Sure.
Karl Anthony Towns has not had the best series.
No.
Anthony Edwards is doing Anthony Edwards things, but he needs help.
Yeah.
And now we get to a Game 4 where, let's face it, Dallas won in decisive fashion last game.
Yeah.
This is one I don't know necessarily if Minnesota has enough left in the tank.
And that's what I was going to bring up. You almost wonder if, just with everything it took emotionally, physically, mentally to beat the Denver Nuggets, if they just used up whatever they had left and burned the tank out to beat Denver, and now they just got nothing.
Yeah, and that's what I think is the problem here. Anthony Edwards has shown up, but everybody else, I think, is spent.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, this is going to be another
young
sweep.
team.
It's a young team, but this is one that they got a lot further than I think a lot of people had them penciled in for.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot to build off with this
Yeah.
For free agency, which is coming very, very shortly.
Yes.
That maybe Minnesota in this offseason is going to make some moves.
Could be.
We'll definitely have our eyes on that. But all signs are now pointing to Boston and Dallas for the finals. The storylines will be going crazy as Kyrie returns to Boston.
Cinema. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I'm not even paying attention to Porzingis coming back to
Is he
Dallas.
even coming back? I feel like this is like the mythical unicorn, no pun intended. Like, everyone says it's there. Everyone acting like, oh, yeah, unicorn, but like, we've never seen it.
Let me just put it to this perspective. As somebody that has watched Porzingis play
Yeah.
in the Garden,
Yeah.
does anybody associate him with being like the franchise of the Dallas Mavericks?
No.
I don't understand why this is even a storyline, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he left, and
Yeah.
like that's how I treat this.
Like, everyone's like, oh, Porzingis is coming back. Porzingis is coming back. Okay, we're now like 3 series into this, into these playoffs. I don't know if he's necessarily even played yet. Like, I don't expect him to.
It doesn't matter because the storyline will be if Dallas punches their ticket tonight or whenever they do. Because I just unfortunately don't see Minnesota coming back from 4 games down.
No.
It's going to be Kyrie coming back to Boston. That's the storyline. That's the headlines. And we're going to have to deal with that as this all plays out because, let's face it, there's nothing else you're going to have. It's Tatum versus Luka. It's Brown versus Kyrie. It's Boston and Dallas. Like I say, there's a history there between them in the playoffs too. So we have a lot to talk about when that all unfolds.
In regards to Kristaps Porzingis, according to Shams Charania, quote, "There's definitely hope. There's definitely optimism." This is reading from an article on Yahoo.com. The Athletics' Shams Charania said Tuesday on FanDuel's Run It Back show of Porzingis' potential return. "There are some hurdles I'm told that he has to clear before he can play in Game 1 of the finals, but there's of course hope that this next week plus will give him the time that needs to ramp up and get ready for that Game 1 next Thursday," close quote. I mean, at this point, the playoffs have been going for what, like a month now?
Yeah.
If he ain't played yet, he ain't playing at all. And I'm not saying this is like some bitter New Yorker who, you know, got real hopeful that he was going to do something for the Knicks and then he kind of left and didn't do shit. Like, if he ain't played yet, he ain't playing at all.
Yeah, that's where I am. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
The storyline there has never been about him. I'm sorry, like the fact he left to Dallas, like he's also, was he in Washington for a cup of coffee too?
Something like that,
Yeah, so like I say, he's traveled. And so that's where I kind of treat this. And when that happens, we'll give our predictions on that show next week. Because obviously things will be tied up by then. And unfortunately, we have to end on a very sad note.
Yeah.
Reading an article right from ESPN.com, a basketball legend Bill Walton, who led the UCLA Bruins to 2 national titles before winning 2 championships during his NBA career, has died at the age of 71 after a prolonged battle with cancer.
Yeah.
He died Monday, surrounded by loved ones, his family said in a statement released by the NBA. Bill Walton was a truly one-of-a-kind NBA commissioner, Adam Silver said in a statement. He was the NBA's MVP in the 1977-78 season and a member of the league's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. That all followed a college career in which he was a 2-time champion at UCLA and a 3-time National Player of the Year under iconic coach John Wooden.
Yeah.
End quote. And, yeah, like I say, he was him on commentary was great.
Oh my God! The one time it was what was it? He had a cupcake with the candle lit.
Yeah, he literally was a fixture for me watching basketball.
Sure.
And you know, like I say, I always just saw how much excitement he had for the game, and just like I say, he was always kind of associated with like the Grateful Dead music, and just, being somebody that just really understood life.
Yeah.
Like I say, and it just hearing this news just was absolutely just horrible and heartbreaking.
Yeah, I knew him more just given he played and his career unfortunately wrapped up before I was even born. So I knew him more as a commentator or anything. But I mean, you look at the career highlights, like you alluded, 2-time NBA champ, NBA Finals MVP in 77, MVP for the regular season in 78, 2-time All-Star, All-NBA first team in 78, All-NBA second team in 77, 2-time All-Defensive first team in 78 and 77, 6th Man of the Year in 1986, rebounding leader in 77, blocks leader in 77, had his number 32 retired by the Portland Trail Blazers. You alluded to the 50th anniversary team and the 75th anniversary team. 2-time NCAA champ, like you said, was the Final Four most outstanding player in 1972 and 73. National College Player of the Year award from 1972 to 1974, so he won that 3 times. Was a 3-time consensus first-team All-American from 1972 to 1974. Won the James E. Sullivan Award. Was also had his number 32 retired by the UCLA Bruins, who he played for in college, like you alluded to. Legendary career, but like you said, I knew him more for his commentary and is just, you knew when you were flipping channels and you're looking for something to watch and you came across a basketball game, very unique and very distinctive voice. So you're like, oh, Bill Walton's on the call, and you knew you were in for a good time.
Yeah.
Always.
He's somebody that understood life, and he's somebody that just lived every day, and just, like I say, from the tie-dye t-shirts to the wild commentary during games, like, he's just somebody that just enjoyed every day. And, that's what made this, just like I say, to leave this kind of legacy behind. I mean, that's something that'll always live forever. So obviously our deepest condolences go out to his family, friends, and fans all over the world. And, like I say, just, be like Bill and just live every day as
absolutely,
to the fullest.
Absolutely.
And that's where we'll kind of leave everything at. For anything and everything that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. That's it for this week. So for the one and only Padawan J.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Ooh, ooh, talk to me. Ooh, talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.